Drop whatever you're doing this very instant. Don't you dare scroll past this video. Don't switch to another app. Call off your appointments. Switch your phone to airplane mode right now. Get every other device in your house off the Wi-Fi. Bolt your door, pull down your shades, and crank the volume on your speakers so high the bass makes your entire floor vibrate. I demand your complete, total, laser-focused attention for the next couple of minutes, because what we all thought was impossible didn't just happen. It's been stamped, sealed, and approved on a global stage by the most powerful, untouchable figure the sport has ever known. The world of the Women's Tennis Association just underwent a seismic shockwave, a complete reality-altering event, and the mainstream sports media in America is in full-blown panic mode, orchestrating a desperate cover-up to save face. Just yesterday, we were right here discussing the absolute and total mental dismantling of Coco Gauff in front of everyone at Indian Wells. We discussed how Alexandra Eala, the 20-year-old phenom, and the hope of the Philippines walked into the spotlight and methodically shattered the confidence of America's reigning superstar. We uncovered the real story behind Coco Gauff's spineless, panicked withdrawal. We all had a good laugh at the pathetic medical excuses the American commentators were stammering through on live TV when Gauff pulled out, blaming some made-up arm injury. We knew the truth that Eala had utterly demolished the establishment's billion-dollar darling in a match that barely lasted 54 minutes before the American had no choice but to surrender. But let me be perfectly brutally frank with you for a second. The action on the court was just the opening act of a total nightmare for the tennis world's elite. That was simply the physical part of the war. What went down after the match signals a permanent, undeniable power shift in global tennis that's causing executives in their boardrooms to sweat straight through their pricey suits. Because this whole thing didn't stop when Coco Gauff packed her gear, mumbled something about a weird firework feeling in her arm, and ran from the stadium in pure, unfiltered fear. In fact, the story blew up into a whole new, terrifyingly huge chapter only a few hours later. We aren't here today to talk about a tennis scorecard. This isn't about breaking down stats on unforced errors. This is about the official, undisputed crowning of the new queen of the WTA. This is about the alert that just lit up the phones of every single horrified tennis executive, every single freaked-out sponsor, and every single veteran player currently hiding out in the locker room. Rafael Nadal, the king of clay, the iconic 22-time Grand Slam winner, the ultimate untouchable, almost mythical figure of tennis royalty. This is the guy who is the very definition of mental toughness, of enduring physical pain, and of relentless, uncompromising victory on the court. Rafael Nadal just went around the entire mainstream sports media apparatus to deliver a potent, public, and absolutely bombshell message of support and recognition straight to Alexandra Eala. And believe me when I tell you the whole tennis establishment is quaking in their custom-fitted, sponsor-laden sneakers. The blowback from Nadal's steadfast endorsement is so unbelievably poisonous, so utterly crushing to the old regime that they have no idea how to even begin to handle it. To really get why this Rafael Nadal connection is a nuclear bomb going off in the WTA group chats, you have to understand the shadowy, ruthless, and intensely political inner workings of professional tennis. When a newcomer pulls off a stunning upset against an established, top-ranked, heavily promoted American star like Coco Gauff, there's a standard procedure in the locker room, an unwritten rule to just ignore it. They bury it. They act like it never happened. They write it off as a fluke. They'll feed the media lines about the veteran having an off day or the wind being a factor, or they'll fall back on weak excuses like Gauff's claim that her entire arm felt like it was engulfed in flames. The established cliques then try to ice out the young players, shutting them out in the players' lounge, turning down practice sessions, and basically waiting for the grueling year-long tour to crush their spirit and send them back to the bottom of the food chain where they belong. But Rafael Nadal just grabbed that unspoken locker room playbook, tore it into a million tiny shreds, doused it in jet fuel, and lit a match for the entire world to watch it burn. By publicly endorsing Eala's relentless, overwhelming ascent, Nadal did more than just say, "Congrats." It wasn't just a polite gesture of approval. He put the crown on her head himself. He put the full, immense, unavoidable force of his legendary career, his elite training academy, and his billion-dollar global brand squarely behind the 20-year-old phenom from the Philippines. We've witnessed this kind of legendary support in the past. Whenever Eala goes on one of these historic, game-changing streaks, the king of clay himself comes down from on high to announce to the world, "We are so proud of you, Alex. An unbelievable tournament. Let's keep chasing the dream." And you can bet the veteran players, the American media machine, and all the corporate sponsors are absolutely livid. They're boiling over with rage. They're tearing their hair out because it's dawning on them that they're no longer just up against a young upstart from the Philippines. They are now facing the hand-selected, personally chosen, and officially backed successor to the Nadal dynasty. Eala is a celebrated top graduate of the Rafael Nadal Academy, and that completely rewrites the power structure of the entire sport. We're receiving bombshell, extremely reliable intel from practice partners, top-tier swing coaches, and inside sources right outside the Indian Wells Players Lounge, and they say the vibe in there is absolutely poisonous. The seated players are staring at their phones, seeing this undeniable link between Eala and Nadal, and they are feeling a profound, nauseating, and unavoidable sense of doom deep in their guts. Just consider the intense, suffocating mental game being played right now. For 5 years, the American media has been trying to ram it down the world's throat that Coco Gauff is the unquestioned heir to the throne. They poured hundreds of millions of dollars into crafting that specific narrative. Then, in the span of a single evening, Alexandra Eala shattered Gauff's will on the court, making her quit. And the Nadal endorsement completely demolished the media's narrative off the court. Can you even picture the absolute paralyzing terror inside the Coco Gauff camp at this very moment? You've just endured the most mortifying public mental collapse of your entire professional life. You backed out of a match in front of your own fans because you were too scared to handle the unrelenting assault from your opponent. There you were at a press conference, insisting the pain in your arm was something you'd never experienced, pleading with the reporters to buy your story. Now you're holed up in your hotel room just praying someone will back you up on this bogus injury. You're desperate for reassurance that you're still number one, and for a glimpse of what's really happening beyond those four walls. The most legendary gladiator the sport has ever seen, Rafael Nadal, just spent time hitting with Aya in private sessions, a clear sign that he considers her an equal on the court. This is the final nail in the coffin, psychologically speaking. The disrespect to the American tennis hierarchy is so deep, it's shattering egos for good. But let's really break down what this endorsement from Nadal truly signifies. Because Aya isn't just some girl with a powerful forehand who got lucky and caught his attention. Ella was methodically and scientifically crafted in the very same crucible on the punishing red clay of Mallorca that produced one of history's most ferocious and unyielding champions. She comes from a system engineered with one purpose: to unleash complete beasts onto the tennis court. Let me spell out for the entire WTA Tour just how terrifying the implications of that are. The Rafa Nadal Academy is not some glorified summer camp. This is not a cushy country club where you sip iced tea, sport a polo shirt, shiki, and tap a few balls around. It is a full-on, military-style boot camp that manufactures tennis assassins. They are designed to shatter you mentally and physically, leaving nothing behind but a raw, obsessive, almost unhinged drive to win every last point like your life is on the line. So when Ella was on center court, completely smothering Coco Gauff, pushing her into those disastrous double faults and playing like an impenetrable wall of titanium at the baseline, it was more than just her own strategy at play. She was consciously tapping into the very same relentless fight-to-the-death warrior mindset that Rafael Nadal used to utterly crush his opponent's spirits for more than 2 decades. Her topspin was heavy and punishing, and she refused to yield even a single inch of the court. She stared directly into Coco Gauff's eyes, sending a clear message without uttering a sound. "You'll have to physically take me out to win today, and I can see it in your eyes you're terrified. You just don't have it in you." But the truly bone-chilling aspect of this whole takedown at Indian Wells was how Ella managed the situation afterward. While Gauff was fumbling to pass off her meltdown as some kind of nerve issue in her arm, Ella delivered a master course in psychological warfare, all wrapped up in a package of sheer elegance. On International Women's Day, Eala took the mic for what will become a legendary post-match speech. Facing a huge American audience, she flashed a gorgeous, totally unfazed smile and elegantly praised Coco Gauff for being a leader and a class act both on the court and off. Are you grasping the cold, calculated genius of that move? She utterly demolished the poster child of American tennis, made her forfeit in a state of panic, and followed it up by graciously calling her an inspiration. This is without a doubt the ultimate power play. It sends a message to every other player that the drama does not touch her at all. It demonstrates she is completely centered, flawlessly, poised, and frighteningly locked in on her ultimate goal. Her objective is not merely to win tennis matches. She is aiming to capture the hearts and minds of the entire world. And it is working perfectly. The jealousy from the tour veterans is so palpable in the locker room you could cut it with a knife. The reason that level of genuine poise is something money cannot buy. And neither can you purchase Rafael Nadal's stamp of approval. Winning a Grand Slam is possible, Landing a huge multi-million-dollar TV contract is possible. You can even get your own signature line from Nike or Adidas. But what you can never do, no matter how much money you throw at it, is buy the genuine, indisputable respect and acclaim of the King of Clay himself. These veteran players have spent the last 10 years grinding themselves into dust on the tour, forcing smiles for every camera. They have endured the exhausting, phony press conferences and practically begged for a nod of approval from the sports icons. And through it all, Nadal hardly gives them the time of day. He keeps to himself. But then Ella comes along, annihilates America's golden girl, and forces her into a shameful withdrawal, and suddenly Nadal's entire legacy is standing right there with her like an unseen, impenetrable shield. This causes a complete, catastrophic, and irreversible collapse of the hierarchy inside the WTA. The established players feel completely slighted. They feel like the entire tennis world is aggressively pushing past them. They see the spotlight, the marquee night matches, the huge international endorsements and the TV ratings being snatched from their grasp and served up to Eala on a silver platter. And it is all happening because she has the coveted seal of approval from the Nadal Academy. But let's get real for a second, because we do not do fake news here. What is coming from that veteran locker room is not just jealousy. It is raw, unfiltered, primal, paralyzing terror. Nadal's support is an unmistakable warning shot fired across the bow of the entire WTA Tour, effectively telling everyone, she is one of mine. She is forged from my blood, my sweat, and my tears. Her game is my game, her mind is my mind, and she is coming to take everything from every single one of you. All of your trophies are already hers. Now, put yourself in the shoes of a top 10 player in the world right now, sitting in the players' lounge. You have just reviewed the chilling footage of Ella psychologically shattering Coco Gauff into a million irreparable fragments. You witnessed her ice in her veins composure. You saw the crushing weight of her ground strokes. You saw her utterly terrifying unwillingness to ever back down from a brutal fight. You now understand with a chilling and absolute clarity that when Eala heads to the locker room or calls her team post-match, she's not getting pep talks from some random high-priced coach just telling her what she wants to hear. She views the sport's definitive mental titan, the man with the most powerful psychological grip in tennis history, as her direct mentor, her personal hero, and the very model for her career. She essentially has the master key to tennis psychology installed directly into her mind by the grandmaster himself. How could you ever strategize for an opponent who has the king in her corner? How can you game plan against a player who embodies the entire competitive philosophy of Rafael Nadal? You just can't. It's impossible. All you can do is sit in your hotel room, stare at the tournament bracket, see your name next to hers, and be consumed by pure panic. You even start contemplating faking an injury, just as Coco Gauff did, to escape the worldwide shame of being methodically taken apart live on television. The players' associations, the sports agencies, and the huge management firms are all starting to panic behind the scenes as well. Inside the corporate boardrooms of New York and London, there is a level of pandemonium that is completely off the charts. They understand far better than anyone that Alex Eala is on the verge of becoming a dominant, unstoppable force in global marketing. In the high-stakes arena of sports marketing, the mere mention of the Nadal legacy makes billionaires pay attention. The luxury labels, the directors of major tournaments, and the top global television executives will all make an immediate, shameless, and aggressive shift to center on Eala, because she now carries the ultimate mark of a legend's endorsement. The tour's established players are petrified that they are on the brink of being rendered completely obsolete in an instant. They're terrified of being demoted to playing matches on court 18 at 10 in the morning before empty stands and a handful of sleeping pigeons, while Alexa headlines primetime night matches at Arthur Ashe Stadium Center Court at Wimbledon and Philippe Chatrier in Paris. And we need to discuss the fan base, because this is the point where the American media made a colossal and complete error in judgment. They believed they could shield Coco Gauff by relying on the support of her vocal American home crowd. However, Alexa isn't just supported by the Nadal mystique. She has the backing of the entire nation of the Philippines. We are talking about a gigantic, passionate, fiercely loyal, and intensely patriotic fan base of more than 115 million people, which is now merged with the enormous and formidable global Rafa Nation. This creates a legion of fans that no other player on the WTA Tour can even begin to imagine, much less challenge in a stadium or on social media. From a media perspective, the veteran players know they've already been thoroughly defeated. When they face Eala, the stadium will turn against them. The online world will turn against them. The announcers will have no choice but to focus on her. The entire story will revolve around the seemingly unbeatable 20-year-old phenom. And what about the element of revenge? Let's delve into the darker, more spiteful side of the professional circuit, the players who are allied with Coco Gauff. The established cliques, the so-called mean girls of the WTA Tour who have dictated the social order of the locker room for years. Rumor has it they are currently in their private encrypted group chats conspiring on ways to put Eala in her place. They're determined to send a message. They're discussing how they can physically intimidate her during a match. Their plan is to hit shots directly at her body when she's at the net to unnerve her and to offer her a cold, dismissive, and insulting handshake after the match is done. They intend to use their press conferences to make subtle digs diminishing her incredible achievements, labeling her as overhyped and suggesting she only wins because her opponents conveniently suffer from collapses. But deep within their frightened souls, they know they are utterly cornered. They find themselves in a perpetual, unwinnable situation. Because if they go after Alex Eala, they're not just targeting a new 20-year-old talent on the circuit. They are directly undermining the legacy of Rafael Nadal. They are disrespecting his academy. They would be risking the full fury of tennis's most revered icon being brought down directly upon them. They risk making enemies of the entire international tennis community, every major brand, and every last fan with a backlash that would be permanent and severe. Alex Eala is currently protected by an unseen, unbreakable shield forged in the fires of Majorca and approved by the King of Clay, and the knowledge that they can't challenge her without torpedoing their own careers is making her rivals lose their minds. Now, let's consider what this truly signifies for the remainder of the tennis season. Think about the Grand Slams on the horizon. Consider Roland Garros, the French Open, Rafael Nadal's absolute undisputed domain. When Alex Eala walks onto the Parisian red clay, she won't be regarded as just another competitor. She will be received with the kind of reverence typically reserved for royalty. The French spectators, who are known for venerating the very ground Nadal walks upon, are going to embrace her as one of their own. For any player who has to face her there, the pressure will be completely and utterly crushing. Just picture getting Alex Eala in the opening round of the French Open. You're not just in a tennis match against a player with a powerful forehand. You are fighting against destiny itself. You are competing against the legacy of 14 Roland Garros titles. You are battling the very soul of the clay. The level of paranoia in the locker room will soar to heights never before witnessed in the sport's entire history. Players will be obsessively studying the tournament brackets, pleading with any higher power they believe in to be placed in the half opposite of Eala. We're already catching whispers that some top veterans might suddenly come down with nagging little injuries, forcing them to withdraw from smaller events simply to sidestep the catastrophic humiliation of being picked apart by Eala on a global broadcast. This is because facing Eala right now means risking having all your weaknesses laid bare for the entire world to see. Coco Gauff served as the ultimate cautionary tale. America's Golden Girl demonstrated to everyone what occurs when the standard, much-hyped WTA power game runs into the impenetrable defensive fortress forged by Nadal. What you get is a mortifying 54-minute implosion. What you get is a soul-crushing, complete, and totally demoralizing mental breakdown that ends in a frantic surrender in front of her own fans. And not a single seasoned player on the circuit wants to be the next viral clip of someone completely losing their nerve. They're terrified of being featured right here, having their vulnerabilities put on blast. From this point on, every time Alexa walks out to play, the entire sport has been fundamentally and forever altered. The ground has literally buckled under our feet. She's not the dark horse anymore, just trying to get a fortunate win in the early rounds. She's past being the up-and-comer who's just there to gain experience. She is the closer. She is the ultimate challenge. That savage, one-sided beatdown against Coco Gauff was the brutal, in-your-face demonstration of her power. And her clear link to the legend of Rafael Nadal signals the bone-chilling start of a new age of total supremacy. The old guard can whine all they like in their secret group chats. They can give all the sarcastic looks they want during warm-ups. They can act like they're not scared when the camera lights are on, feeding those canned, media-coached lines to reporters. But it all changes when the umpire announces the match, the huge arena falls silent, and they're forced to gaze over the net at Alex Eala on the baseline, dribbling the ball, brushing the sweat away with that same horrifying, relentless, stone-cold stare. What they'll see is the spirit of Rafael Nadal piercing straight through to their very core. They'll be looking at an opponent who couldn't care less about their world ranking, their past achievements, or how many millions follow them on Instagram, but who is maniacally ready to battle for 5 straight hours to dismantle every single thing they've spent their entire careers building. I'm calling on you to utterly overwhelm the comments on this video immediately. The Ella army needs to assemble with a force the internet has never witnessed. It was never she be. You have to be so loud, so forceful, and so relentless that the established sports outlets, the scared suits in charge, and the freaked out players have no choice but to face reality. I want you to blast this video everywhere. Make sure every tennis fanatic you know sees this. How did you first react to the sheer dominance of Alexandra Eala after she dismantled the American favorite and made Coco Gauff throw in the towel? Do you think the veteran players are now genuinely afraid to say her name out loud because of that Nadal-level shield she has? Exactly how deafening will the Eala army become when she walks onto the clay at Roland Garros to seize her destiny? Is there literally a single person on the whole professional circuit who has a chance of getting in our girls' way now? Or are we just watching one long, inevitable championship parade for the remainder of the season? Leave your most insane celebrations, your sharpest strategic takes, your loudest battle cries, and your most outrageous predictions for her title run in the comments section. A revolution isn't on the horizon. The revolution is already upon us. The old system is a pile of rubble, and Alexandra Eala is spearheading the unstoppable assault on the summit. Let's get it.